Hello, and welcome to In the Course of the Wenton King, Uriah Heep, Salisbury. Perfect antidote to what we've been doing. It's great to do Guns N' Roses and then Uriah Heep because we've gone from one to another and it's different. It's actually quite straightforward Hammond-driven rock, sort of. Made by people whose clothes don't matter. It doesn't matter how many beards they've got. The music is written because it sounds good, not because of social things. Stuff, which is great. It's kind of generic of what we do. Mm-hmm. It's almost prototype of what we do. So the fact that we haven't done them yet is kind of because they're kind of obvious in a sense, particularly as we've already done the heavy rock bands as well. This is very much that stuff. But that's a criticism in a way. It's almost cartoon 70s heavy rock or prog rock, almost. It also has harmonies, lots of harmonies. Massive influence on Queen. But a thing you can talk about is the fact that Queen has this fantastic production. The production is so good on Queen records and it still sounds good, And you need that with all those complex harmonies. And Uriah Heep doesn't have that, they don't have great production. So sometimes the harmonies sound and sometimes they don't. The actual singing isn't, well, when I say the actual singing, I mean the backing vocals aren't any better in Queen. But the way it's produced is much better. Obviously the front vocals are completely different and it makes it hard to listen. I had Demons and Wizards since I was about 13 and for this I have bought Salisbury and Look at Yourself, interestingly. This is definitely prog tinged stuff, much more so than the stuff I knew, more than I thought. That surprised me. We have a 16-minute thing with an orchestra, so yes.
Interesting. I hear what you're saying there, Kev, I really do. I thought this was a joke when I first put it on. Just listen to this. This is... What the hell is going on there? I honestly thought, this can't be serious. Beware! And also, when you listen to it through headphones or something like that, you get a bit of a sense of the production. And it sounds like the band's in a box.
It does, yeah.
The band are in a box over there and he's warbling into his microphone. And he's just like, this is a joke, this isn't serious at all. But actually, it gets really, really good really, really quickly. By the end of that track, they're back to doing normal stuff. He does bring that back quite regularly. And there's a bit of a thing going on. Which isn't too bad actually. But, overall, this is really good. It ticks all the boxes. I particularly like the epic. I love the end, the epic end. Salisbury. Yeah. It's like from bar one, beat one. We're doing an epic, and it's going to be epic, and you're going to love it because it's epic, and it is epic. It does exactly what it says on the tin. Yeah. And it's quite exciting rock as well, with prog, influenced, prog tinged, which is really, really cool. Yeah. I like the what did I like about it? The drums are sort of, you think of heavy rock, sort of thing, Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin, big heavy drums, hitting them hard, making it loud. And actually, I thought the drumming was quite subtle, quite skillful. Yeah, but subtle sort of thing. Yeah. So they're not whacking the cymbals. It's a tss, but it's really, really good stuff.
There's actually a jazziness in the rhythm section, and that makes it quite different. Yeah.
I did find that quite often that they're quite timid with the rhythm section. There's some good stuff going on there. I actually thought I need to bring that up in the mix bit, and that'd be really, really good. But the vocals could be overwhelming, but the album is constructed in such a way that you have big instrumental sections and then you have vocal sections, and which means that the actual mix is perfectly satisfactory, and it doesn't get too much, I don't think. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Some really good songs. It's really good. I really like Lady in Black actually.
Yeah, which is a famous song. Great song. Yeah.
It does that sort of like bolero thing of building, and it's just really...
It's really good, yeah.
It's really nice when you...
That one and Salisbury, I think. Yeah. And the opener. Yeah, in fact, what I've got written here next was vocals tend to divide opinion. Because and that's the awful thing is that I don't think it happens that much, but to me, naturally, you compare it to Queen, and that's a shame.
I don't. I suppose.
the Queen's secret weapon, obviously, and comparing this guy to Freddie Mercury is ridiculous and not fair. But he's different. He's not anything like that at all. He's a completely different singer. He certainly has a lot of range, but it is over the top, isn't it? I mean, like
Dio.
Dio.
He does that falsetto thing. Only this guy mixes it up a bit. Whereas I always thought Dio was just too over the top with it. It's just all the time.
That's interesting. I mean, I think this guy, he's much more falsetto and much more... Whereas Dio obviously is... But I think the sort of theatricalness of it makes me think of Van der Graaf. But he's probably got more technique than Mr. Van der Graaf, whose name escapes me.
Eric.
Steve. Yeah. People aren't allowed to sing high anymore, obviously, not since the Black Hat. So everyone's got to be like Dio. Not that Dio doesn't sing high, but he's still when he's high. They get compared to Deep Purple, and really, not really. It's just the Hammond thing, which comes from Vanilla Fudge, actually. Hammond rock, Hammond and guitar, therefore Deep Purple. But a lot of it was because supposedly they were in the same rehearsal studio when they were making In Rock. They were making the first album, and apparently they weren't really in the same. They were at the same time, and that's about it really. This stuff isn't about the playing. That's the thing. But Deep Purple is about the playing, isn't it? This isn't really. This is about the constructed piece of music, so which is much more of a proggy thing. And this is the second album. This one, I think it's the most proggy one by the sounds of things. That's the impression I get. Although they did get John Wetton in later on, but that was probably a more commercial sound. I think. I don't think it meant it was proggy. Yeah. So you've got the obligatory epic, obviously, which is great. Salisbury. And it's always that thing where it's to the detriment of the rest of the album, and that you don't think about the rest of it. You're just thinking about Salisbury. But like you said, Lady in Black is a great song as well. It's just as good as Salisbury. It's just not as long.
It's not. It's more traditional, really. It's not really. I wouldn't say it's like the Salisbury thing's like a sectional piece, something like maybe Supper's Ready, but not as good as Supper's Ready. But that sort of thing. Lots of different things. Whereas Lady in Black is more of a progression, isn't it? Really. But
yeah, I mean, Salisbury's great. You've got very sketches of Spain at the start. Those horns. It'd be interesting. I don't know who wrote what. I think the keyboard player was very much a composer, so I don't know if he arranged all the horns. But that part of it's really good, and it's all the Hammond with the sketches of Spain horns and all that. And the first half of it is instrumental, and with such an over-the-top flamboyant singer, that's a good thing. I think when you said that, it doesn't have to be all the time of him going. Great stuff. I get Camel vibes from this.
It's interesting you say that.
Which surprised me because I didn't only knowing Demons and Wizards. Actually, that's not true. No, Demons and Wizards and Magician's Birthday. I've got those two. I would never have thought that. But it seems this earlier stuff has more of that cameliness, and I think it's in the jazzy rhythm section that's gentler. And sometimes when there's a lyrical guitar, great bass stuff in there. Great bass player. There's some really cool bass stuff on Uriah Heep. I think the bass player actually passed away in mid-70s. I think that's why they had to get John Wenton in. And it sort of all fell apart then. I think it could have had a better ending. I think Salisbury kind of just stops.
Yeah.
It's almost like they ran out of time or ran out of record space and just finished.
End.
Yeah. Actually, you could probably apply that to quite a few of these songs and they don't really have an ending. Maybe they got better at that.
See, what I got from them was a good... Because I compared them to Deep Purple, probably because of the organ thing. And my thing with Deep Purple is, okay, Deep Purple own that space, yeah, and they do Deep Purpling.
They do Deep, yeah. It sounds like Deep Purple.
And it's lots and lots of Deep Purpling, which can get a little bit tiresome. I mean, they've got these great songs, which are excellent to listen to.
And then they do more of them.
Yeah, and then they do more, and it's like, oh. There's a good variety here. They're actually, which is really good, which is really quite refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, if you say one bit sounds like Camel and one bit sounds like Deep Purple, that's quite
a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Quite a lot of stuff. Yeah, I was reasonably surprised and pleased by what I heard.
Why is it called Salisbury? It's like I'm going shopping down Salisbury. It's. I suppose if you live in the US or you live somewhere else in the world, it's this mythical ancient place. But to us, it's Salisbury. It's a town. But I think part it's Salisbury Plain, and there is an army base on Salisbury Plain, so that's the tank. But maybe it's that and Stonehenge as well, because Stonehenge is on Salisbury Plain. But yeah, it still seems quite funny. I might put Sainsbury's. Uriah Heep, Sainsbury's. Going shopping down Sainsbury's. Is that it? We're going to egg it?
I think we can egg that, can't we?
Yeah. 4 eggs, because actually it's a bit patchy. It's all good, but there's 3 bits which are excellent. So there's 3 bits which are 5 eggs, and that's the first track, Lady in Black and Salisbury. The other tracks aren't really up there. They're sort of 3 egg tracks, I think. So it's 4 egg album.
I'll agree with that. It was interesting to listen to. It was good to listen to, but it's a sort of, they're playing in areas where there are bands that own that.
Yeah, and we've already been there.
And we've been there, so it's not sort of.
It's more.
Yeah, they need something distinctive to pull them out of the 4 egg range.
Yeah, and I think maybe that was part of the problem. It's kind of unfair, really, in that the time they're from and everything, and they're always the lesser one. They're compared to Deep Purple and they're seen as the lesser one. They're compared to Camel or something, they're seen as the lesser one. It's not fair. No. They're just as good, but we just didn't hear them first.
But they were massive in the 70s, weren't they? Uriah Heep.
I think, yeah, they were climbing, and I think obviously they had their problems, personnel problems and stuff, and it all sort of went pear-shaped, and they just cut off. It's one of those bands that always carried on with the one original member and is still going. And they were going to be big. Good. Right, see you next week.